Hello and welcome to Walk With Me, the podcast. I am your host, Marie-Eve Bédard, and today I'll invite you to embark on the journey that is as simple as it is profound, the act of walking together. Now, the name Walk With Me is intentional, means my initials, Marie-Eve, but it also stands for me as in each one of us. So this podcast is a place where I want us to explore life, death, everything in between and beyond. Over the years, I've witnessed that growth and evolution can be daunting for a lot of people, but when we get out of our heads and walk the path together, something truly magical happens. We collapse time, we tap into our inner wisdom, and unlock amazing potentialities. So this journey is not just about walking. It's more than just putting one foot in front of the other. It's about exploration. It's about the deep connections we form with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us as we move through life. So together, we'll dive into the discoveries of science, the teachings of the heart, and the revelations of the soul. From the frequency of the Black Forest and journey where I live, I'll be added some sacred feminine wisdom and collective consciousness. We'll explore how everything shapes our lives and our path. So lace up your shoes and let's walk together on this path of growth and evolution. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Walk With Me, the podcast. I am your host. I am Marie-Eve Bédard, and I'm coming here today because I just had to share something with you. And it's interesting because usually this late at night, I don't record anything. I'm so good at protecting my energy, not in a protection way, but being mindful with my energy and working through different time zones. And, all of that makes it even more important for me to be aware of that. But I really wanted to come here to share something with you that is so close to my heart and that is so important and that I feel like we're not talking enough when it comes to personal development or personal growth or evolution. Now, some of you have already listened to my first episode called She Gave Me Life Twice. And there's so many things that's been coming up in relation to that lately. And I see so many things about the different reasons why people would or would not embark on this journey. And I created a post, I did a post a few years ago that I reuse often, which makes me think that I haven't used it very, very recently. But when I started this journey, like I'm talking 15 years ago, before it was even in my mind to become a naturopath or a coach or or mentor or like before, when I was an embryo type of thing, when I started to do this work, it wasn't because I wanted to be a better person. It wasn't because I wanted to be my best version of myself. Like it wasn't even like it didn't even cut the 100, I think. Like it really was because I was in pain. I was in pain emotionally. I was in pain physically. I was in pain mentally. My soul was in pain. Like I was in deep pain. And I was struggling to find a way to or a path to a pain-free life or to lessen the pain, at least lessen the pain, right? And what I found on this journey was not necessarily that the key was to reduce the pain. What I found, or to get rid of the pain, or to get rid of the fears, or to like all of that we actually think in our mind that is the important part of what it is to be evolving as a human or to align with our soul's purpose or whatnot. What I have found is that the pain came from the fact that I was stuck. The pain came from the fact that I was carrying loads and loads of conditioning, of past experiences, of guilt, of shame, of like all of that. I was carrying mountains, like literally mountains. And then one day I came across a quote that said, "These mountains that you are carrying. You were only meant to climb. And I sat with that. That's when I realized that the point of all of this was not even to get rid of the pain. As I was sitting there thinking that everything that I wanted to do, I couldn't do because of X, Y, Z, whatever. Even if I was, reducing the fears or getting rid of the fears or whatever, like I was stuck because I had chained myself to a life that was not mine, to a life that I didn't relate to. And I had been doing that for a long time, like over and over. And every single time I was actually doing it, and I was so much pain that I was blowing it up in some kind of way because I wanted to get rid of the pain. But what I came to understand, and this is where it shifted like tremendously in my life, what I came to understand is that the whole point of this was freedom. What my soul was craving, what my heart was yearning for, what my body was screaming to have, desire, was freedom. Freedom of being, freedom of choosing, freedom of experiencing, freedom of movement in my head, in my heart, in my soul, in my body, freedom. And that was the biggest measure of success for me. And when I started to shift that mindset, when I started, like when it landed, like really landed, I really started to do more and to carve out more of my resources for this work, not because I was addicted to the work, not because I thought that it was going to be like the solution to all my problem, not because I was falling even like, and believe me, that's coming from somebody that actually spends so much time being a perfectionist, being the good girl, being like the A students, be performing. It wasn't even about that. That's why I'm saying like the whole point of all of this was not to be a better version of myself. It wasn't even to be a more authentic version of myself, because I don't believe right now that there is an authentic version of myself, really, if there's no freedom. Like even authentic for me, like being authentic for myself feels like a destination when the whole point of this is a journey. I'm in for the journey to more freedom. That is the whole point of all of this. Now, freedom can be scary because when we are free, there's something about the responsibility of doing something about it, right? Like, and one of the things that happened after like getting all the freedom that people want to have, like people are saying like, you're so lucky because XYZ, I wish I had this, wish I had that. But the thing is, when you have spaciousness, when you have freedom, there's a whole other layer of things that start to happen where you feel guilty for that, where you feel guilty for this, where you feel like there's like you should be busy, like you shouldn't be free. Like there's a busyness that we're addicted to. That's why we're like constantly on our phone. That's why our calendar or if we're flowing. That's why like it's not because we have poor management skills like in our time. It's a lot more about having poor management skill of our emotions, of our thinking. Because when we have more freedom, we're invited to more and more and more and more. I remember I was having a conversation with one of my coach a few years ago, and I remember I was telling her like I can walk with so much, like I can walk with my fears. That's not a problem. But there's one thing that I fear a lot, and that was actually like even more exacerbated after we left Canada to come here, because like the loneliness is real, like the loss of community is real, the sense of being far, like that distance feeling is far, like you're the one responsible as an expat to remember like all the things, I had to follow up to maintain the relationships, like all of that falls on you, because most of people, they can't even remember like one number, which is the number of time zones difference. Like there's another layer of awareness as expats that we are holding. And I remember I told her, I said, I know that I'm keeping myself small right now because I'm at the I feel like I'm at the further edge of, if I take a step more, who's going to be there? Like, and it's not like, oh, I'm so aware that whatever, like really truly felt like it was already like so far outside, like my path, my journey has taken me so far outside of the mainstream that I was afraid, and that was a real fear. I was afraid that if I take one more step, then there's not going to be somebody else. And I actually told her that. And I actually said, I know this is ridiculous. Like logically they can't be. There's always going to be somebody to have conversations. There's always going to be somebody. And then when you start to look at that, you realize that it's another chain that you're putting on yourself, because that's actually freedom above what you even thought was, well, for sure probable, for even more sure possible, but like it's freedom of thought and feelings, emotions, being, choosing, shifting, expanding above everything that you've ever experienced ever. After I actually like expressed that to her, like obviously we talked about it, and all the evolution that I've had since then, there were some moments where I felt like my light within was expanding so much that my human container was coming out of the seams, like literally coming out of the seams. But the truth is that when you have all the basic foundational tools to self-regulate, to bring yourself back, to actually like really see where the soul purpose and the soul experience is leading you to, and where the human comes into play, and you can really balance the two, this is where the fun starts. This is where this is where I came here for this, for these conversations, for this level of exchange, for this consciousness of the union of this like high level interconnectedness that we have together. The fact that we are literally just one, like one big one. This year, I actually am walking a path of surrender that is beyond what my mind can comprehend, what my human can comprehend, but I am here for that. I am here for those conversations. I am here for that deep connection with my soul. I am here for really putting the human in the back seat and leading with my soul. I am here for these conversations with you. I am so ready. And I am so glad that I have found other women that are on this journey with me, alongside of me, parallel to me. I am grateful. This is the most grateful I've ever been, like in a long, long, long time. And it brings all these past fears, smallness, confinedness. It's not like it's shifted so much that it's not even I'm aligning in the path where I'm still walking that fine line where I'm afraid to revert back to old habits. It can't happen. And when we're doing this work, we actually, when we start, it's like a muscle, we have to realign ourselves all the time and all the time and all the time. But when we are doing this, our whole identities are shifting and our skills are getting sharper. The rest follows. The rest follows. I'm trusting today that this is going to reach your heart and your soul and your mind and your even your body, the way that I am sending it. And I almost feel like this journey on my podcast is like an echo. When I was a child, I loved mermaids, like mermaid stories. And my mom brought me, like, my first movie that I went to see at the movie theater was The Little Mermaid. And that voice that she had that was so precious that she actually traded it for human form. I don't have to trade anything for that voice. I have that voice. You have that voice. We have that voice. We're invited to use it. We're invited to step into that power. We're inviting into playing our instrument, bring our talents to this world. This world right now needs us, needs the love, needs the higher conversation, the level of awareness to shift the paradigms that we're stuck in. There's more and more voices that are rising. There's more and more awareness. There's more and more. And that really, I anchor my being in that more than anything else, because that's the truth. That's my truth. And that's the truth that resonates in other people. And when there's doubt that come in your mind, I have no doubt. I've always been a firm believer in people, but I believe so deeply in people. And I have no doubt that we are able to really rise and further the whole collective of human, no matter what the media is portraying, whatever is happening in the world. Like, this is where I stand. And I'm calling in everybody else that is standing in that truth. I'm calling us home to that deep, deep truth within ourselves. And I'm inviting us from that home, like that voice of the little mermaid that goes to the surface and sings her song before she dives deeper into her soul for that gold treasure and comes back up and sings her song over and over and over again. I just love this imagery. I just love it. I'm sending you so much love. I love you. I see you. I feel you. Take care. Thank you for being part of today's episode and walking with me. As the seasons of life shift, we hold the power to navigate our path with courage, intuition, and wisdom, and embrace change with an open heart, for within it lies the potential for remarkable growth and evolution. If this conversation resonated with you, please subscribe on your favorite platform, leave a heartfelt review, and share it on social media. If you know someone who would benefit from this episode, I'd be honored if you shared it with them. You can stay connected with me on social media, where I continue to share insights and inspiration. And for a deeper connection, you can join my Telegram community for exclusive content and real-time conversation. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until our next encounter, keep exploring, embracing change, and finding joy in every moment. And remember, you can always come back here and walk with me.